Hi, everyone. I hope you're doing well. I'd like to go through a few hepatic lab tests or liver function that are these tests are very important to understand, at least to a certain extent, in order to be ready for our discussion on viral hepatitis. So, before we really can get deep into discussion about the viral hepatitis conditions and all the different hepatitis viruses, we really need to discuss some of these principles. Now, we talked about the liver function, enzymes, and what those enzymes particularly are involved with a little bit in biomedical science. We talked a lot about the anatomy and physiology of the liver when we talked about hepatic physiology. So if you have some time on your hands, it might not be a bad idea to look back across our biomedical hepatophysiology slides. So first of all, there are 5 main liver labs that we are most concerned with when we're talking about liver inflammation and liver disease. Okay, so those 5 are aspartate aminotransferase, which we just commonly refer to as AST, and then we have alanine aminotransferase, which is ALT. Now these are enzymes that reside in several different types of cells around the body. AST is found in more places than ALT. ALT is most commonly found in the liver, but is also found in other places throughout the body. The way that we remember which one is more specific to the liver is the one with the L. So ALT is more common and specific to the liver when we see it elevated. If AST alone is elevated, there's a chance the liver is completely uninvolved. Okay. Now, gamma glutamyl transpeptidase is another enzyme that is most commonly found in the liver. It is also found in other places throughout the body, but most commonly the epithelial lining of the biliary tree. All right, so real quickly back to AST and ALT for just a minute. These are enzymes that are particularly important in amino acid metabolism. They transfer basically amino acids back and forth, particularly aspartate and alanine. Okay. Now, alkaline phosphatase is another enzyme that's very important that we spend a lot of time discussing when we get into liver diseases. We see alkaline phosphatase elevated in liver disease, and in particularly the biliary tract again. So GGT and alkaline phosphatase are pretty specific to the biliary tree. And then bilirubin, of course, is a metabolite that the liver has to process and then puts into the bile. So AST and ALT are primarily found, when we're talking about the liver, they are found within the hepatocytes of the liver. So let me get my little cursor out here. So on this drawing that you see here, these circles represent the hepatocytes, and then this track here represents an intrahepatic bile duct. So a little bile duct that's traveling between rows of hepatocytes. And you can see AST and ALT primarily reside within the hepatocytes, where GGT and alkaline phosphatase are found primarily in the cells, the epithelial cells that line the biliary ducts. Okay. And then bilirubin, on the other hand, is found within the bile and is traveling down towards the gallbladder and the small intestine. So as the hepatitis virus or other forms of toxins such as like alcohol and different drugs, as these things invade and then specifically with the viruses replicating within the hepatocytes, it causes the hepatocytes to eventually rupture. So you see here, like we talked about in viral infections, the virus is going to get into the hepatocyte, take over the machinery, and basically replicate at a fast rate until it causes the hepatocytes to rupture and burst. When this happens, that's when AST and ALT are released into the system. So basically, when hepatocytes rupture, AST and ALT levels in the blood increase. So AST and ALT are markers of hepatocellular injury. So this occurs in earlier hepatitis. That's in the early stages of hepatitis. If the hepatocellular injury is extensive enough, if there enough of these hepatocytes are rupturing, it can cause swelling out here in these regions of the liver, and that can cause a lot of pressure and swelling to then injure the epithelial lining of the biliary tract, which is then going to cause elevated GGT and alkaline phosphatase, because those cells are also going to rupture. See a later change, alkaline phosphatase and GGT being released from rupturing epithelial cells of the biliary tract. Now, if the biliary ducts are injured enough, it can cause blockage. And if this is blocked off, then bile is not allowed to escape and get into the feces. So bile builds up and actually kind of pushes over into the blood, or remains in the blood, and causes jaundice, and can cause jaundice, and we can see bilirubin in the urine, for example. Okay. So unrelated to the viral hepatitis, the unrelated to viral hepatitis, but also very important, is if there is a gallstone. So here's our hepatocytes. Hepatocytes are biliary duct. If we get a big gallstone that falls out of the gallbladder and gets stuck and lodged within this tract, obviously bilirubin's not going to be able to escape, but it can cause an increase in pressure in the biliary tract right here above the stone, which may cause damage and injury to the epithelial cells that line the biliary tract. So you're going to see an elevated GGT and an elevated alkaline phosphatase, but the hepatocytes are just fine. They're not injured. And so this is a situation where you would see normal AST, normal ALT, but increased GGT and alkaline phosphatase, as well as bilirubin. And that can tell you that that correlates pretty well with at least a gallbladder stone causing blockage. Also, alkaline phosphatase can be elevated on its own without any elevation of GGT or AST or ALT or bilirubin. And the way that happens is alkaline phosphatase is not only found in the liver or the biliary tree, it's also found in bone throughout the body. So if you get an overgrowth of bone or an increase in bone metabolism, there are conditions that cause this, like bone cancer metastases or Paget's disease of the bone. These different bone conditions can result in an increase in alkaline phosphatase. So hopefully that'll make sense. Thank you for listening to this short little screencast. We're going to have a readiness assessment quiz on this material at the beginning of class. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.